Okay, everybody, here we are. So now we are on to nutritional ergogenic aids. In the last chapter, we talked about pharmacological or chemical ergogenic aids. And now we're going to continue with the nutritional ones. So here's our outline. I've separated them into areas of focus. So we're first going to talk about nutritional ergogenic aids that are protein or amino acid based. Then we'll talk about nutritional ergogenic aids aimed at improving fat metabolism. And then we have other. So make sure you can define this. Last time we did chemical or pharmacological, and then we're more of synthetic chemicals. But here, we're talking about ergogenic aids that are made from nutrients, byproduct of nutrients, or food, plant extracts. But let's just focus on nutrients or byproducts of nutrients. Don't forget, I talked a lot in the last chapter about how there's so many ergogenic aids and supplements out there now, how so many of them are banned. And that's primarily because of fears of safety, not because they work. Remember, according to the NCAA, for example, there are no approved supplements or ergogenic aids, right? And their list is not complete. Okay, so just like before, for each ergogenic aid, we're going to talk about what it is, what its proposed mechanism of action is, how that could potentially help an athlete. Just to remind you, ergogenic aids are different from supplements. I'm really trying to pound this home. A supplement is something that is meant to supplement you cannot get through your regular diet. But an ergogenic aid, let me hear it. I'm listening. Something that is meant to improve athletic performance. So an ergogenic aid is something that is meant to improve athletic performance. Okay, our first big category is going to be protein. Okay, let's start with branched chain amino acids. You know, you've heard of them. Let's talk about it. These are a grouping of amino acids. Not surprising based on the name, branched chain amino acids. So these typically are a group of amino acids. They usually include leucine, valine, and isoleucine. You don't need to know the specific ones included. Let's just define branched chain amino acids as a grouping of essential amino acids. And of course, we know what that means. Remember, when I do these videos, I cannot control these random arrows and circles, so just please ignore that big red arrow. Now, just as some extra information, if we look at these particular essential amino acids, they choose them because they are digested faster than others. So it's actually, if we were going to have an ergogenic aid or a supplement that contained amino acids, these are the ones that you would want. Now, each company is going to have a different ratio. I picked this one because it does have, if you were going to take this, you would want to make sure that it has these three amino acids, leucine, valine, and isoleucine, and you would want to make sure that it's the proper ratio. I'm not going to ask you this for the test. So far, all we need to know is branched chain amino acids is an ergogenic aid that contains a grouping of essential amino acids. You can see the typical dosage, 100 milligrams, 50 milligrams. But look, a 3.5 ounce chicken breast contains a lot more. And that chicken breast is cheaper and more regulated. In other words, you know that that chicken breast has these amino acids, guaranteed. Do I know that this supplement or this ergogenic aid actually has those amino acids? Nope. because there's no oversight. So I'm sure it's been shown before, some of these companies, when they actually analyze the chemical composition of that powder, it doesn't really contain what it says it does. So you might be spending a lot of extra money for something that really isn't what it says. When a chicken breast is cheaper, contains more of these really important essential amino acids, and furthermore, with the chicken breast, you're getting other nutrients, some carbohydrates, some healthy fats, some vitamins and minerals. All right, folks, just telling you. What is the function of these essential amino acids? Well, of course, those particular amino acids are used to build muscle. They're used to build muscle. Some people will claim now that it can also lower fatigue. They say that these branched-chain amino acids lower tryptophan uptake, and that can also affect fatigue. But I'm going to focus on this one. So, of course, the proposed benefit of taking in branched-chain amino acids is that it can help us build more muscle. Because of that, this is more so marketed to our weightlifters and our strength athletes. I talked about this in the last chapter. They add branched-chain amino acids to everything now. They're added to energy drinks. Why? There's no physiological sound reason why. They're just trying to make it look better so they make more money. I asked this for a reason, though. These are energy drinks. Energy. Do we use amino acids for energy? Not really. Not in very high amounts at all. Okay, what does the research show about these branched-chain amino acids? Some studies show that they can increase the rate of protein synthesis. It may also decrease how hard you feel like you're working and certain muscle damage markers. But this is just some studies. It's not necessarily shown in all of them. And when it comes to performance, guess what? No significant improvement in performance. It does seem to be pretty safe. So among those, I was talking in the last chapter about growth hormone, insulin, taking those things, they have more potential risks. So this does seem to be safer. But again, have a chicken breast instead. Does seem to be legal. It is legal in most things, but it does not show an improvement in performance. It really doesn't, folks. All right, so I added one here that has been more popular lately. So this is my revamp, and this wasn't around 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. So another way just to show us that here's another round of new ones. And 10 years from now, there's going to be other new ones. So let's talk about collagen. Collagen is a protein that's naturally found in the body. Collagen is a protein that's used in your skin to give it structural support. Collagen is used in tendons and ligaments. How about that? In bone and in muscles. If you look at the supplements, so collagen is already a part of us, okay? If you look at the supplements, right? How do they get them? And I'm just pointing this out because I want you to know what you're ingesting. Most are made from skin, tendons, ligaments, bones of cattle, fish, or pigs. Collagen is extracted through boiling and then processed using acids and enzymes into smaller peptides that are more easily handled by the body. So if you're taking this, you very well may be taking in a remnant of cattle bones scraped from the ground in the processing factory. Do you really want to be eating that? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, or the skin, I don't know. So I just want you to know where these things come from. So if collagen, and again, I'm underlining what you need to know. Collagen is a protein that we naturally have helps to make up a lot of us, including tendons and ligaments. Its proposed mechanism of action then for athletes, if we have it already naturally, if we bring in more, could it increase the structural strength of our tendons and ligaments? Oh, maybe. There's another line of thinking that it can make other essential amino acids more available so I can build more muscle and I can recover better. Guess what? Research says no improvement in performance. Doesn't really seem to help with exercise recovery. The only potential avenue of benefit might be from injury rehabilitation, but still no clear evidence. So does this work for athletes to improve performance? Nope. Not very surprising. Okay. I talk about this with my colleagues, and one of my colleagues happens to be a veterinarian, and she said, Christine, do you know what they do to cattle? I said, of course not. She said, well, what they do is every summer, or every spring, they have them go through this big tub of insecticide. So I found a picture online. Look, here are cattle going through an insecticide bath. Chemical insecticides, people. Because they don't want, when the cows are out in the field, they don't want as many insects buzzing around them. So they get a big insecticide bath. And what was one place where collagen can be extracted from? Skin. Do you really want remnants of cow skin that was from a cow that was bathed in an insecticide? No, I just not. So we don't know where they're coming from, folks. It may be safe, it may be not. We just don't know. If you were looking as a protein source, right? So I know everybody wants to take something. If you were, of course, folks, use your natural diet first. It's cheaper, you get more nutrients overall, and it's safer, much safer. If you cannot get enough protein alone, it's a big if, how many of us really try to get enough protein through natural food? Really? Probably not as many as we want to admit. If you were going to get it, you would want to look for a collagen source that is derived from bone, not from skin. It's less processed when it comes from bone as opposed to the skin. You don't want to have anything else added to it. We don't need to keep adding extra. Oh, look, extra amino acids, extra taurine, extra leucine, extra, because what the potential fear is that we stack without realizing it. You're bringing in so much that it can actually have a negative impact on you and your health and your performance. And also think about timing. If you have that pre-workout, you took collagen in the morning, then you had whey protein dissolved in your water or milk, then you had some protein through food, then you took in some Gatorade and a Celsius sports drink. Within a couple hours' time, that is a whole lot of these things all at once. And it can actually lead to some negative side effects. All right, so we've talked about so far branched chain amino acids. Research does not show that they improve performance. We've talked about collagen. Research shows not shown to improve performance. Let's talk about whey protein. Everyone's heard of it. Let's make sure you know what it is. Whey is a liquid byproduct of cheese. So whey protein is made from a byproduct of cheese. Which part of the cheese? The milk, right? So it's a natural byproduct of cheese and milk. About the composition. Most whey proteins have a high amount of essential amino acids, particularly leucine. We may remember from our protein chapter, leucine is a key regulator of muscle building, so that's good. Whey protein is more quickly digested and has a higher bioavailability. We haven't talked about bioavailability. It has to do with how the body processes something. depending on the chemical composition of what you bring into your body, it's either easier or harder for the body to process. And as a result of that, either more of what you brought in is available to the body to use or less. So you might bring in something, but if it's hard for the body to handle and break down, you may just end up peeing it out. So that would have a low bioavailability. You're bringing it in, but your body's not actually able to break it down and make it available. In particular, whey protein is more bioavailable than many other types of protein, such as, for example, casein. So structurally, usually, this form of protein, the whey, is pretty easily handled by the body. So what would I like you to know so far? Whey protein is made from a liquid byproduct of cheese and milk. It contains a high amount of leucine, which is a good thing because leucine is what we use a lot for muscle protein synthesis. It has a high bioavailability. This particular whey form of it has better results for muscle protein synthesis as opposed to other types of protein. Oftentimes, whey also contains something called cysteine, which sometimes can have an antioxidant effect. So structurally, whey protein is a good structure of protein for the body for athletes. I'm not saying it works yet. I'm just saying its makeup is a good structural makeup for athletes. So I wanted to go down the rabbit hole a little bit because I wanted to see, I said usually whey protein contains leucine. Usually it contains cysteine, but I really wanted to look. So I picked a random whey protein I found online, and I wanted to look at the labels. So I looked at the label and looked at the ingredients, and it says protein blend, whey protein isolate, whey protein concentrate, whey peptides. Then, of course, they have cacao powder to make it flavorful. Lecithin is a chemical stabilizer. Some flavors, okay. But what is our protein blend? So then I had to look further on the label. It says 11 grams of naturally occurring essential amino acids. Well, which 11? By the way, if you go back, how many grams of protein per scoop? So one scoop, 30.4 grams, has 24 grams of protein. But not all those 24 grams of protein are from the amino acids. Look, 24 grams of protein. There's 24 grams total. How much of that is from the essential amino acids? 11. Less than half. But which essential? It doesn't tell you which ones. So do I know that it's actually leucine? No, I don't, right? So it's a little worrisome that they're not very clear on what actual amino acids it contains. So I had to look it up. Again, these yellow circles should not be here. So I went to the academic research, and this is from an article. I give you the reference down here. Protein content and amino acid composition of commercially available plant-based protein isolates. So I looked at whey protein. So they give you at the top different types of protein. Casein, milk, soy, right? I looked at whey protein and I came across to leucine. So of a total essential amino acids of 34.1, 8.6 is leucine, commonly. So of the list, it does have the most leucine, okay? But it may not be as much as you think. Of 34 total grams, only 8 was leucine. So you just have to be careful because you don't know. What I do know would be the amino acids in a chicken breast. Aha, better. So what is the proposed mechanism of action with whey protein? Well, naturally occurring, it can help us build more muscle. So, of course, it's going to help with muscle growth, maybe lean tissue gain, like lean muscle mass, maybe to facilitate recovery. Does it work? Well, some studies show an increase, but fewer show that it actually improves performance. Anecdotally, meaning if you just ask people in the gym, it's pretty widespread that people feel as though whey protein helps them build more muscle. Some studies show that, but others don't. So there is not yet a consistent scientific consensus. No clear evidence that it improves performance because of antioxidant or facilitates recovery. What we know, and I want you to know this, know this, know this. What actually increases our lean tissue mass and recovery is an increase in protein overall. So what's best? To get it through diet. Cheaper, more regulated, higher amounts of amino acids. I don't know what more to say. If you were looking to supplement protein because you're not able to get enough through your diet, whey protein seems to be relatively safe. Whey protein usually seems to have a reasonable composition. So it does seem to be pretty safe. A good quality whey protein is more bioavailable, does contain the right amount of amino acid, leucine. But when we actually have one group take whey protein and another group take a placebo, there's not a clear consensus in the evidence that the group that took the whey protein does better in performance. It is legal. So what is best? And again, I'm so sorry about these circles on the screen. So we have regular diet, branched-chain amino acids, or whey protein. Well, you know what my answer is going to be. Regular diet is always best. Let me use green to make it stand out because there's leftover red on the screen. Regular diet is always best. It's more safe, it is cheaper, and you're going to get other nutrients, vitamins, minerals, some carbohydrates, some healthy fats. And when we have more protein through a regular diet, it does improve performance. Comparing branched-chain amino acids to whey protein, well, they're not well regulated. It is like rolling the dice. Between the two, whey protein seems to be a little bit more stable in its amino acid composition. They both seem pretty safe, but neither show that by themselves they increase performance. No consensus they increase performance. You're spending a lot of money on something that you don't even know if it contains what it says it does. It is a roll of the dice, and these seem safe, so if you want to spend that money, go for it. But I'm giving you the evidence. All right, let's skip ahead to our fat metabolism ergogenic aids, or nutritional ergogenic aids that are aimed at boosting our fat metabolism. Let's talk about L-carnitine. So, sometimes I have fun with this because it's kind of ridiculous. I looked at L-carnitine, and I'm quite familiar with it, but that's because it's my job, right? And it's what my degree is in, so I should be, but not everyone is. And it says amino acid. Is L-carnitine actually an amino acid? No, L-carnitine is not an amino acid in structure or function. It is an amino acid derivative. But folks, it is not an amino acid. But what do these companies know? They know that if they put that on there, it's going to be eye-catching. And it's going to make you more likely to buy it. So what is L-carnitine? L-carnitine is something we have naturally in us. It is something we have naturally in us that is part of fat metabolism. I'm not going to get too far in the weeds. So it's a chemical in our body that assists in fat metabolism. It is found naturally in some foods. It's an amino acid derivative. So the body creates it using some amino acids, but L-carnitine itself has no functions related to amino acids at all. What you need to know so far, L-carnitine is a chemical in our body that is needed for fat metabolism, or needed to burn fat for energy. It is in a lot of natural products. I'm not going to ask you that, particularly a lot of meat. When we go back to fat metabolism, when we had this whole chapter, we said there are 6 steps to fat metabolism. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fat takes longer to break down. All I'm pointing out to you, check out step number 5. Look at what's needed in step number 5. Carnitine. Does that sound familiar? So you don't need to know the specifics, but I'm just reminding you, L-carnitine, something we need to burn fat for energy, and it is involved in one of these steps. We have it naturally. It's one of the things we need to burn more energy. So of course, what is the potential ergogenic effect? Even though I already have it, if I bring in more, maybe I can burn more fat and therefore have more energy. So knowing that this is a chemical that's involved in burning fat for energy, the thinking is, well, if I bring in more, maybe I'll burn more energy, or I'll burn more fat, and therefore I will have more energy. It's also marketed as a weight loss mechanism. This would potentially be more of a benefit to endurance athletes. They will try and sell you to high-intensity athletes, oh, it can delay fatigue and improve performance, help remove these toxic compounds. Knowing the chemistry behind it, folks, if it was going to work, it would be more beneficial to our endurance athletes because they're the people that are going to be burning large amounts of fat for energy. So I went to their website, bulksupplements.com. Look, increases exercise performance. What do they say? L-carnitine plays a significant role in boosting performance, helping to improve recovery. Does it? Brain health, weight loss. They really include everything. Do these companies have to have any evidence behind these claims? Nope. They can say whatever they want. That is different. Think back to chapter 2. We talked about nutrition labels. In order for the box of Cheerios to say, eating Honey Nut Cheerios can lower your risk of cholesterol, in order for them to say that, they have to have scientific evidence showing that it's true. These companies, nothing. Zilch, nada, zero, nil. Butkus, nothing. So they can say whatever they want. What does the research say? Well, when we have endurance athletes who take additional L-carnitine, it does, in many instances, increase blood carnitine levels, but no evidence to show that it improves performance. If it were to improve performance, it would likely be endurance, but so far, no consensus. While it may increase your blood carnitine level, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually getting into the muscle, that we have enough receptors, that it can actually make us burn more fat. As an aside, the DL-carnitine, that form is toxic. So make sure if you do use this, even though it has no scientific basis to work and it's not regulated, make sure you get the L-carnitine. Okay. In terms of legality, it's been listed on some NCAA institution websites as being banned, so I'd be careful. Remember, they don't list everything. So then I went back to an energy drink. And again, I'm sorry about these circles. I went back to an energy drink. And guess what? Monster Energy, L-carnitine. Monster Energy, of course, is going to have caffeine, the guarana. It's going to have the taurine, which is supposed to be antioxidant, doesn't do a damn thing. Then it has L-carnitine. Why is an energy drink going to have L-carnitine? Is it going to give you energy quickly? No. If we need quick energy, what are we going to burn for energy? Carbs, not fat. They're just adding it so it's more ingredients, so you think it's better. All right, so we continue on with our, I feel like I'm on a no train. Does this work? No. Does that work? No. I'm just giving you the science, folks. Let's see okay. What I'm thinking is, let's take a break here, and I will come back for the second half of this. Actually, is this our last one for ketones, or our last one for fat? Nah. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll come back for part 2. All right, see you soon, folks.